Yeah, well, terrific. I mean, you're fighting nerves. You're coming over to a new team, just got here on top of it. You watch him in the bullpen, he looked like, a little nervous going in, and once he got the first couple outs, he just settled in, and it's as good a mix of pitches as we have. I mean, it's a changeup that he throws in any counts, a real good curveball when he needs it, spots his fastball, there's real deception in his delivery, so, everything that we heard about, and certainly made a splash with his first game, showed up today. It was impressive.
People beforehand had talked about his changeup a lot being his featured pitch. What do you think of that specifically? Is that pitch sort of set up as other stuff? How was that kind of?
Well, I mean, it always starts with fastball, and he's got a deceptive fastball because of his delivery, and you're seeing a lot of pop-ups and off-balance swings based on the fact that it's tough to read his fastball, but then you have to be ready for his changeup, and so he kind of catches you in the middle, and then he can throw a 12-6 curveball. He's got a little cut slider. He's got a true 4-pitch assortment.
Was there anything in particular that impressed him? Any trouble he got into, or anything at all where he kind of showed you what he's made of?
Right away, based on the fact that he made it look easy early on, and you expect maybe a walk, a couple base runners, have to pitch out of a jam early on before you kind of get settled. And that never happened. So I think the most impressive thing is he went right after him early on, used all his pitches, and really didn't have any trouble spots early in the game.
I'm guessing you had the plan to take him out in that inning, regardless for the fans to give him a nice ovation, right?
Yeah, what I was thinking about taking him out, to start the inning, but he was still effective. He was in the mid-80s with pitches, but I wasn't going to let him get past 100 and right about where he was. And in the back of my mind, I'd like the fan base to give him a little bit of an ovation, and he enjoyed it.
Bob, does he have a poise that, you can tell just right away with this guy?
It looked like it to me. Now, it's a first look, and it's a first game, but the first game's usually when there's more nerves than any other. So, to do what he did, like I said early on in the game, was probably the most impressive thing for me.
Does he remind you of anybody in particular?
Well, I played with Tom Gordon, and he said that he's had some comparisons. It's that catapult over the top. It's a downer curveball. It's kind of that deceptive fastball. The delivery's real similar. Has a better change than, Flash. I played with Flash. He never really had a changeup, but certainly the delivery and the fastball curveball portion of it are real similar.
He only had one situation where he had to pitch with a runner on base, but after the Simmons steal. What did you think about that going through the 2, 3, 4 spots in the order?
Yeah, it didn't look like he was, anything really fazed him. Even when they stole a base, they timed him. It wasn't just a true steal. It was kind of a timing steal where, those type of things he's going to have to work on is not having the same rhythm all the time once you're in the stretch. But, those things, you work on and you're going to get better at. It's the stuff that you can't make better. So he's got the stuff.
Well, the offense obviously better than those days when you were no hit for so many innings, but
I think we're about 4 today, wasn't it? Into the 4th at least.
Yeah.
So at least we're consistent.
But you scored 4 runs, of course, but you left 14 men on base.
Right.
Was that something that still concerns you a lot?
Not as much today because we want to get guys on base and get opportunities. If that's a trend where you're doing that game after game where you're leaving guys on, it's one thing, but we just haven't been getting guys on. So they had a good approaches really up and down the lineup today to get on base, whether it was hit. We had some deep counts. We got some walks. So that part didn't bother me at all. It makes you a little nervous because you can be adding on and you should have a bigger lead. But I thought our at-bats at a whole today were much better.
How fun of a game is this for you to watch, seeing a guy who's still fairly new to the organization? And like you said, you can't really make a true evaluation until you see him out there for the first time.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun because there was some hype that came with him.
Yeah.
The trade was a big trade. We traded some pretty good players. So, to get your first look at, a guy like that and for him to pitch as well as he did, especially at home, was, very rewarding.
Does his next time out depend a little bit on Minaya and where Minaya goes in, or is he going on his regular term?
I won't let you know tomorrow. Yeah, it has a little bit to do with Minaya.